Hello and welcome to A Better Morning. I'm Heather Klein. We debate the trending topics in sports from a sports betting point of view. Let's welcome today's panel. The fantasy executive, Corey Parson. Lead NFL analyst of Fantasy Alarm, Andrew Coop Cooper. Host of Her Story in the Making and co-host of Lightning Round, Britt Flynn. And head of content of Fantasy Alarm and award-winning host on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Howard Bender. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Morning, Heather.
I want Corey to smile when my name is said. For the
I'm not. Because I should be announced as award-winning as well.
Corey,
so I'm not letting that down.
You know that's in his contract, right?
Oh, okay, I got it.
My smile was contractually obligated during that whole beginning.
You guys should see the rider that I have for my green room, man. By the way, Heather, good job on the no pulp in the juice today.
Oh, thank you so much. I aim to please.
Only green M&Ms.
Only green M&Ms. Right. Okay. All right, let's get started, guys. Yankees pitcher Domingo German threw the 24th perfect game in Major League Baseball history last night in Oakland. What an accomplishment. What is the greatest accomplishment in sports for you guys? Britt, you're up first.
So I don't really know if I can pick just one because there are so many different accomplishments that require different things of their sport, right? So like the Michael Jordan flu game, the Nadia Comaneci perfect 10, the Usain Bolt 100-meter dash, Michael Phelps winning 8 medals in a single Olympic Games. The list can go on because each one of these accomplishments requires such a different skill set. Yes, a perfect game is huge, but the A's have been so incredibly bad this season that I kind of feel that anyone in Major League Baseball could have accomplished this. That said, it's great for Hernandez because he is, or Herman, sorry, my bad. I was going to say he's the first since Hernandez who's been from the Dominican. And so that in itself is a really awesome accomplishment.
All right, so I will go. I think there's a number of different ways you can look at this question. If you look at it from a team standpoint, an undefeated NFL season is, in my opinion, would take the cake. You look at it a single season standpoint, you have 60 home runs, the touchdown record, the rushing record, winning back-to-back Heisman trophies. But I think when you put it in this context of what we saw last night, one night, one game, the perfect game is great. Only been done 24 times. But I'm going to go with the NBA quadruple double. It's only been done 4 times. It hasn't been done since 1994. One of the 4 times was actually in an overtime game. With the perfect game, the catcher plays a role as well. In a quadruple double, that's really just you.
Well, clearly, neither of you have ever tried to pole vault. And none of you have ever stepped into the ring with Mike Tyson back in the day. So, listen, I mean, that's, the perfect game, I think, is ridiculously tough to do. And while, yes, the catcher is a big part of helping call the game, I do think that the pitcher, not having this stuff or having the stuff for that matter is really what's most important. But yeah, man, I'm going to sit there. I'm going to talk about boxing. Stepping into the ring, what Buster Douglas did, beating Mike Tyson. Granted, it wasn't Iron Mike of when he first started, but he's still, the training and to even, to come off looking as, chubby as he did and still knock him out. Come on, baby. Give me something for the sweet science.
Yeah, I mean, I, as a football guy, scoured the depths of my brain to try and make this about football. And I agree with Corey that, the perfect season is obviously amazing. Jerry Rice's career, untouchable, but it's just so hard to pick anything other than what Michael Phelps did. And as Britt mentioned, not only 8 medals in one Olympics, but he has 28 total. The next closest is 18. And most of these guys do just one thing at a high level, and they can only do it every 4 years. This guy in the water is doing multiple things at a crazy level. And he has the most medals all time. And here's a little extra trivia for you. He also has another accomplishment. The longest televised putt in the history of golf during a pro-am contest was Michael Phelps. This guy, he can do it all.
Yeah, but Coop, I would look at that and I'm like, that's over a span of a career. And
he also has the record for he's got two of them. He's got two amazing records: 8 in one Olympics and 28 over a career.
Yeah, but I'm on a one night basis, one night only. You know what I'm saying? One night only. Herman probably won't ever be talked about on this program again. So when you're great for one night, I think Howard makes a good point with Buster Douglas, but you could kind of say Mike Tyson was washed up by then.
You could say that, but yeah, no, I agree with you that it's not so much the overall career span, because yes, what Michael Phelps did was absolutely fantastic. But I mean, you know, if you're talking about winning a gold medal in the Olympics, we see people do that all the time.
But the question wasn't.
I don't think it's that tough.
The question wasn't what's the greatest accomplishment in a single night. The question was, what's the greatest accomplishment in all of sports? And I think being the all-time gold medal leader is the overall greatest achievement.
I want to see.
Thank you, Britt. Thank you, Britt. And I'll also add that you look great today.
I want to see the three of you pole vault more than 10 feet. Have you guys ever seen a pole vaulter? Come on.
Yes, it's insane.
But people do it, Howard. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
I was an all-star pole vaulter in high school back in the day. You should have seen me.
Hey, javelin over here, 6th in the state, baby. Let's go. I know Massachusetts. I got the medals. I got the medals, dude.
600 home runs is better than those Olympic numbers.
When you're cheating.
Yeah, I think Getting the Game has it right. He also did 90% of it taking the biggest bong rips of all time because of his gigantic lungs.
That was part of the game. That was a positive.
See, you guys do that? That's a huge accomplishment for me. I wear that like a badge of honor. Come on.
That's a secret to pole vaulting.
All right, guys, let's move on. We continue our divisional odds breakdown, and we now move on to the NFC South. The division left much to be desired as all four teams finished with losing records last season. With the exception of Atlanta, the other teams have a new quarterback. According to early odds, the Saints are the favorite to win the division at plus 135, and the Falcons are plus 240 with second-year quarterback Desmond Ridder. Who do you have winning the NFC South? Corey, you're up first.
All right, everybody, take out pens and pads and get ready for this one right here, because this right here is going to put some money in your pocket. The NFC South, the best team in the NFC South, the best roster in the NFC South, the best quarterback in the NFC South is the Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young. Bryce Young is going to be a difference maker on this Carolina Panther team. And I know Britt don't want to hear about it because she's anti-Alabama. I don't want to hear about his hype. But when you look on both sides of the ball, in the trenches, on the O-line and the D-line, nobody's just about as good as the Carolina Panthers in that division. You bring in Miles Sanders, drafting a Jonathan Mango, Bryce Young being in there, Frank Reich. Listen, this was the best team in the NFC South last year. The Carolina Panthers, this is an easy one right here. Smash Carolina, keep pounding, undoubtedly the best team in the NFC South.
Well, Corey, the reason that they don't call you award-winning is because you steal my takes. That's really what it comes down to here. Because I actually agree with the fantasy executive, which is like, but yeah, I think, defensively, I think they are a rock-solid team. I think everybody's just kind of favoring the Saints because that's kind of all they know. They know the name Alvin Kamara. They know the name Michael Thomas. What they need to know is the name Dennis Allen, because that dude's going to coach their way like completely out of it here. So I am not a big fan at all of that. We also have a very unproven Derek Carr. I like the Falcons' run game, but I don't love the passing. I don't think Desmond Ridder is all that great. I mean, Tampa Bay, forget about it. Good offensive line. So default Carolina.
Unproven Derek Carr. Dude, all this guy does is throw for 4,000 yards every year, 70% completion percentage or so, except when he's being coached by Josh McDaniel. And they've been trying to get this guy weapons and failing for years, right? You draft Henry Ruggs, he goes to jail. Brian Edwards completely flames out. They have to trade him. Antonio Brown brings a fake helmet to practice and then freezes his feet off. Like, this guy has never even really had a chance. He's been throwing to a tight end and a 5th-round pick pencil salesman in Hunter Renfrow. Now he finally gets to play with Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed looks good. Alvin Kamara is going to miss some games, but he should come back for crunch time. I think that in this instance, the books have it right with the Saints being the heavy favorite because they have the best players. They're the best team.
See, the one thing about the Saints is, sure, their defense is still pretty much intact from last season, and they were actually a lot better than their win total showed. They were 5th in yards allowed and 9th in points allowed. So on paper, they should be better with Derek Carr. But the two huge elephants in the room are the looming suspension of Alvin Kamara and the uncertainty of Michael Thomas's health. Atlanta actually did a lot to improve their team in the offseason, but they had so many holes that's not really saying a lot. However, with their run game, they'll be able to control the time of possession and compensate for whatever deficiencies they have in their defense. I don't really trust the Panthers with Bryce Young. I'm sorry, Corey. They don't really have any weapons. And if Bryce Young gets hit over and over again, which he will, I don't know about his durability. I definitely don't trust the Bucs with Baker and Kyle Trask. So give me the Falcons in a little bit of a shocking upset.
The players that Bryce Young played against in college go be the same players he played against in the NFL, because that's where the players come from, the Southeastern Conference. So he's used to that level of competition that he's going to see in the NFL. And the Dennis Allen thing is something that nobody is taking into consideration. That guy is a horrible head coach. When he benched Jameis Winston last year, he basically threw that team off track, and they're going to do it again this year. And Derek Carr is not that good.
He's great. And here's the thing with Michael Thomas health uncertainty. I just saw him deadlifting like 1 billion pounds the other day. Toe looks fine to me
too.
Michael Thomas's physical health is not up for grabs here. I think physically he's perfectly fine. Mentally, does Michael Thomas want to play with this team? Does Michael Thomas want to play with Derek Carr? That, to me, is what's up for debate there as far as Michael Thomas goes. I mean, the guy has been, I'm sorry, but you don't have 72 toe operations, whatever he's claiming that he's had here. For that, I think it's more of a mental thing for Michael Thomas, whether or not he even wants to play. And I think if this team struggles early, let's say Kamara actually gets suspended and this team struggles early, suddenly Michael Thomas is going to be like, my big toe. I got to get another surgical procedure on it because this team sucks.
Dude,
so does my coach.
First of all, it was his second toe, not his big toe. Second of all, he has 10 million reasons that could be upwards of 15 million reasons to play football this season, Howard.
Yeah, he's hurting for money. He needs that contract.
Absolutely. He's got an incentive-laden contract this year, and he seems excited to play. And I'm excited to draft him in all my fantasy leagues.
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to hold out or make any excuses for his toe just because the team's going bad. I think at this point in his career, it comes down to more of what his legacy is going to be. And he's not going to hold out just because the team's bad. He's going to want to show that he can improve them and that the team is better with him. So as long as he's healthy, he's going to play.
Not the big toe.
Not the big toe.
I don't give a crap which toe it is. I'm just telling you flat out that if this team struggles, Michael Thomas is going to back out. I'm telling you.
I find it interesting how I'm quite sure all of you will kill Jimmy Garoppolo, right? But when he come in there and run Josh McDaniels' system to perfection, like he's got a 12 on his jersey, nobody's going to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? But we can sit here and criticize, other quarterbacks. Or like Derek, like you criticize Carr, you talk up Carr. He was in that system. He couldn't do nothing in that system last year. Nothing.
He was great.
And that's where it breaks down.
Maybe the system sucks.
And that Jimmy Garoppolo fits perfectly in that low ADOT little system. Derek Carr threw the ninth most
ADOT. What are we doing
balls?
with the Mike Clay with the ADOT talk? Let's talk about football. What we see on the field. You are a Patriot fan, so you telling me that system don't work? You root for the Patriots.
It works over here. I love Josh McDaniels. I love Josh McDaniels when he's coaching the Patriots. I hate him when he coaches like the Rams.
The system
Broncos
does work. Derek Carr's too stupid to pick it up.
Come on now.
What do you mean, come on now?
He picked up John Gruden's Spider Y2 banana, whatever was going on there. He was throwing for 4,000. He threw for 4,800 yards.
Yeah, because that system has been like 1985. Please. McDaniels is like, with all the different verbiage and all the different, the pre-snap movement and the confusion and the fact that wide receivers can make their own, decisions as to which route they're going to run based on what the defensive coverage is. Carr was never on the same page with any of his wide receivers. He was never on the same page, in that system with anybody there. So, yes, you're going to probably give him an easier system to follow in New Orleans. But again, I just don't think that he is really that great of a quarterback. But to Corey's point, to my original point, is that Dennis Allen's going to screw that team up. So I'm not really worried about the Saints.
All I'm saying, I'm just trying to keep things positive this morning. If you want me to go negative, on a rookie quarterback and Baker Mayfield and Desmond Ridder, then I could do that. But I'm going to need more than 45 seconds.
Howard, I think with the Michael Thomas toe situation, I think Deion Sanders would beg to differ about the concerns about foot surgery and toe surgery.
Oh,
So
isn't Deion about to lose a foot?
Scary. It's scary. Yeah. Hope, prayers up for him, man.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sorry, Heather, but is Deion playing right now? No, Deion's perfectly fine. He can sit at a desk and talk about stuff all he wants.
He'll get a scooter like Pete Carroll.
Right, exactly.
Seriously.
The NFL is handling out suspensions for violations of the league's policy on gambling, and it's expected that the players involved will get season-long suspensions. With the prevalence of sports betting in more and more states, as well as NFL owners voting to allow sports books at many stadiums this season, are the rules too harsh, and should they change? Howard, you are up first.
I don't think the rules are too harsh. I think they need to be over the top because you don't want athletes gambling. Whether it was on their own sport, not on their own sport, whether you're talking about, logging in and gambling from your own facility, you can't do. Whatever the case may be, you need to make sure that there is not even the appearance of impropriety. So if you're a professional athlete, you sign a contract to join a professional team, don't gamble. Don't let them gamble. They got tons of friends. They can have burner accounts, whatever the case may be. They don't need their names on it. And so either the players are too stupid to realize that, or the NFL just needs to keep toughening it up. And I think that's perfectly fine. And I'm taking a 5 extra seconds right now because I think that no professional athlete who signs a contract and is getting paid by a team should be allowed to bet because of the appearance of impropriety.
That was some 5 seconds, Howard. Anyway.
Michael Thomas's toe says up yours.
You're taking my seconds here.
Yes, I am.
So I actually agree with Howard in one sense that they need to clarify the rules. Like the fact that Jamison Williams, when he's eating breakfast at home on his couch, can bet on the Cubs, but the moment he's at the facility eating lunch, he can't. Like, it's confusing enough, right? Can you drink beers? Can you smoke weed? Like, let's clarify the rules for these guys. Right now, this whole idea that it's like a slippery slope to bet on baseball if you're at the stadium, that's bordering on thought crime. You know what I mean? That like, oh, okay, like he's here betting on sports. Maybe he'll start betting on football. Like, I'm interested to see what this Minority Report has and who is actually being punished for just thinking about maybe betting on football in the future. If you're going to get rid of gambling, get rid of it. If you're going to keep gambling for other sports, let them gamble on other sports wherever.
Yeah, I agree with Coop. I don't know if I would say that the rules are too harsh as a business because as the NFL ultimately is, it's up to them. But there are too many ambiguities in these rules. When you qualify a hotel room as a sports facility when the team is traveling, that's too broad and overreaching. There are also issues of NFL stadiums operating actual brick and mortar sports books within their stadiums. So it's a bit hypocritical to say players can't bet on any sport at all when teams and by proxy the NFL are profiting an estimated $20 million just this year alone. And we're getting mad at and suspending players for placing tiny wagers on their college teams. These suspensions dilute the product, and the NFL really needs to find a happy medium before this becomes a way bigger issue or ban it altogether.
Yeah, I understand the argument with the NFLs are in bed with the gambling companies and the sports books, but the money goes to the players. The players get more than 50% of the pie in the NFL. so the money is coming to them anyway. So the deal's all fair to them. Howard took it too far. I don't think if you bet on your sport, Pete Rose, no doubt about it, out of here, doesn't make any sense. You know that from the time you was a child, you don't bet on your sport, indefinite suspension. Now, what's going on with Jamison Williams, that's ridiculous. So I would say to the players, the NFL needs to explain the rules of engagement better for when you're betting on sports outside of the NFL. Because why can't somebody not bet on a game that they don't play? They don't have no distinct advantage in that. So I'm going to go and disagree with Howard on that one. If you are playing that sport, don't bet on it. If you're not playing that sport, get yourself a trap phone and bet from home. You know what I'm saying? Or have somebody log on for you before you kick off Sunday morning. But to go ahead and say that they can't do it at all, that's ridiculous.
And I also I worry about the enforcement of it and how much they're monitoring these players' phones and their activities. Like, how much oversight are we putting in to ensure that players don't gamble? That in itself is a little bit creepy. Where are they watching them from? Where are they finding them?
Somebody to monitor Zion Williamson's phone.
That's a different topic.
These kids need to learn from the GOAT right here, dude. You smash that phone the moment they ask for it. You smash it to tiny pieces.
but Corey, you say I went too far, but the bottom line is that you just said it at the end also. These athletes, you know what? If you want to gamble, then fine. Go ahead and gamble, but don't do it on your sport for sure. And if you want to place bets, have somebody else do it. Like, that's the last thing. If we want to integrate gambling a lot more into sports and in our industry and everything like that, then you need to immediately shut down all the anti-gamblers out there who say that it's going to ruin the sport and there's going to be point shaving and everything like that. You need to eliminate that aspect completely. And the best way to do it is to blanket statement and say, no, you're not allowed to gamble. Or if you're going to do it on a different sport, you do it through somebody else. So listen, I live in a state where gambling is not legal. All right. But I bet every single play that I put out there into the universe. How do I do it? Well, I got a guy, and a Joe Schmo like me, award-winning Joe Schmo at that. If I've got a guy, then why the hell can't an NFL player have a guy? They got all sorts of entourages and hangers on and everything like that. Let that idiot place the bet for you. Don't do it yourself.
Well, I tell you why they can't. It's because the way that all these apps and this generation works, everything is based off your phone, and they want that quick access. And that's not how this generation operates by having another guy. They want to be able to do it themselves. And it's just a shift in generations.
Yeah, I want a $1 million contract for doing what I do, getting my ass up in the morning. But I don't get that. I'm sorry. You know what? NFL players or professional athletes, for that matter, have been exalted for years and years and years. And they've been put on a pedestal since they were a little child. Why? Because they can play a game really, really well. Now we're going to say, well, it's okay. No, tell them no. You can be firm about it. I just don't see why. Because they wanted quick access on their phone. Hey, do you have a phone, Corey? You got a cell phone?
Right here.
Oh, thanks. Can you place a bet
like
for me?
Zion.
How hard is that? How hard is that?
You guys aren't getting the mail to do this show?
Oh. Don't screw with me, Coop. Don't you mess
Got the blades, right?
Another thing we have to do with this right here is you got to don't even wait till they get to the pros. When they get into your program in college, start teaching them then about the dangers of betting. When they get in college, start teaching them. So when they get to the NFL or Major League Baseball or whatever, the rules are already in place. You got to raise up a child early. You know what I'm saying?
Where are you going to teach them? In a classroom? Because they ain't going.
No, you teach them in the team facility. You had the guy that player development do that.
And I think with all the NIL deals too,
they got plenty.
When
money.
that gets when that gets broken down, include a clause in the NIL deal that they sign about gambling and betting. So if they bet in college, they lose their deal. That'll teach them real quick and fast to not mess around
That's a
and
good
break
one,
the
right?
rules.
I think Britt just
there you
solved
go.
it. I think Britt just
Thank
solved
you.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
But
that's
none
pretty
of this
impressive.
like, you get, bet on somebody else's sport, but don't bet on your. No, a football player wants to bet on college football. Fine. A baseball player wants to bet on baseball. Okay, do it through somebody else. Don't let everybody know. It boggles my mind. It really does.
Until they find Pete Rose's notebook, though. You got to be careful.
Dude, can we shout it out to Pete Rose, by the way? When Ohio made gambling legal, a local casino in I think in Cincinnati actually had Pete Rose come in and place the very first bet when it was legalized. And what did he do this year? He put money on the Reds to win the World Series, could win up to $3 million if that actually happens. So shout that one out to Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle.
He's the
I
master
hope that
troll.
does happen.
Yeah,
I hope that does happen.
He is
I kinda
such a
do
master
too.
troll.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, I kind of do too. That would be awesome.
Dude,
And then
what
he can
an
buy the Hall
FU
of
to
Fame.
baseball, right?
Yeah, that would be amazing
Yeah.
if the Reds won the World Series.
Speaking,
And then
Pete
do we
Rose
talk
go
about
cash that
insider
ticket.
trading again?
speaking of an FU to baseball, we just took the football topic and just used it for the rest of the show and canceled the last baseball topic. So sorry, Heather.
Sometimes the talent has the lead. You know what I'm saying?
The inmates are running the asylum now,
This
baby.
is a
Let's
very
go.
important topic, though. I mean,
You're
I
right,
think that
Britt.
there's a lot of things that we're learning and that we haven't discussed about it. And it seems that it's very interesting that it's relegated only to NFL right now, that the only problems that we're seeing are in the NFL,
Oh,
and
'cause
it's
they're the
not
biggest
branching out to other
dumbasses.
sports. Well, yeah, and that's why there's so much to talk about it.
Even the last guy on the bench in basketball is making so much money that he doesn't need to bet on a thing, right?
It's just
Clearly.
it's just unbelievable. Like, if it's something that you want, whatever, just have the mental makeup to say, I've got this $1 million contract, even if it's the league minimum. Still, it's just
Yeah, but
it's
see,
just so
but
stupid.
would you understand?
All right, guys.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, before we
Go
go,
ahead.
for today's edition of A Better Morning, thank you to Corey, Howard, Britt, and Coop. Check out the 5-pack with Kyle Elfrink at noon Eastern. We wish everyone a better day.